The Lincoln Arts Council has supported the arts across the city since 1968, both visibly and behind the scenes in ways you may not even realize. We are proud to be Lincoln's most democratic arts organization, supporting the arts and fighting for arts access for Lincolnites in every neighborhood at no charge. We serve children, we serve adults, and we advocate for artists and the arts all across our wonderful and vibrant city. The Lincoln Arts Council has been a fixture in Lincoln for more than 56 years. But in October we had to pause operations. Funds had run dry. And now we are turning to you, our community of art lovers, for support. The arts are a human right that we believe everyone should have the privilege to access. As art has given the many we serve the courage to persevere, it now inspires and strengthens us. Art is a wound turned into light, said George Brock. The Lincoln Arts Council champions the arts, connects people, and changes lives. With your help and support, this is a mission we vow to revive. It's too important not to. Please consider making a donation at artscene.org as we spend a few minutes showing you the work we do, work that needs to be done. Some of our programs will be familiar, and some might come as a surprise. The Mayor's Arts Awards. We're so proud of this annual event, which recognizes individuals and organizations who contribute to the arts. There's a Philanthropy Award, an Educator Award, and awards to both young and established visual and literary artists and urban designers. 12 awards in all, including for those who work behind the scenes to make the arts available to everyone. Here's Mayor Larian Gaylor Baird at last year's ceremony, and Daniel Martinez playing the guitar after receiving her Mayor's Choice Award. And this triumphant picture of a proud young man holding their award up in the air is of Live Yes Studios. They're a wonderful community arts center supporting artists with disabilities through creative expression, representation, and community partnerships. The Lincoln Arts Festival happens every summer. It's 2 days of festivities. We have more than 70 artists come from around the country, many of them from the Midwest. They sell their creations, which range from painting to woodwork to ceramics, sculpture and jewelry, all along Canopy Street downtown. We also have a creative zone at the festival. This is something new we've done in the last year or two. It's a space where kids and their parents, or whoever would like, can come and make art themselves. Whether it's putting together a birdhouse and decorating it, or making music, or watching glass being blown. It's become a summer destination and it's a lot of fun. The festival also hosts 10 emerging local artists who are given space to introduce and sell their art to the public. We look forward to hosting the festival each June, usually around Father's Day. CLC Art Clubs. We have projects at 29 Title I Lincoln Public Schools, offering after-school art clubs. Research has shown the power and the importance of after-school engagement for children to set them on a path of learning and engagement at home and in life. This is a photo of a drawing class. You can see this was during COVID years with some masks on, and the one on the right is actually an improv class. These students at Dawes Middle School did some script writing to come up with a skit. We also do music. Here you can see Holmes Elementary students. They worked with Oscar Rios to make their own instruments and then did a performance for their classmates at the end of the residency. On the left is a teaching artist doing watercolors with students at Brownell Elementary. We do a lot of school programming, including summer camps, which you'll get to hear about in just a moment. Vital Services, a wonderful organization in town that serves adults with developmental delays and intellectual disabilities. They do extraordinary work with those adults, including providing job support, housing support, and general life services. But one thing that they hadn't done was the arts, so we approached them, and this year we got to do an inspiring project with them where we had theatre arts for kids come in and do a little theatre piece. So they wrote some music, sang some songs, did some choreography, and it was a joyful experience for everyone. Summer camps. I mentioned we do 6 of these each summer. These photos are of a camp we did at Constellation Studios. We've done summer camps at various locations, at schools, and also at other partner sites, such as the International Quilt Museum, UNL, and the Audubon Center out at Spring Creek Prairie. These free camps keep kids engaged in the summer and is a way for them to incorporate the arts into their learning, as well as their sensory and socio-intellectual development. The Bridge is another fantastic organization. They serve men who are in addiction recovery, often just having been released from prison or in some kind of transition phase in their lives. Once a week, we have Danny Renault go out there and work with these guys doing watercolors. He's there for about 2 hours every Wednesday, and it's been transformational for a lot of these men. So much so that when we had to tell the Bridge that unfortunately we were suspending things there a few weeks ago, the director called to say that they were going to keep it going. They did some fundraising of their own to pay Danny to stay out there for the rest of the year because it had become so vital to the therapeutic work that they were doing with these men. We also work with the elderly. It's important, I think, to reach everyone at all ages. We work with kids, as you've seen, but we also work with many other demographics, including here, with this Creative Aging Initiative, one of several projects in partnership with Lincoln Aging Partners and the Nebraska Arts Council. The photo on the right is a movement class at a local center for aging, and on the left is a proud artist in formation at an exhibition after a Mosaic residency. El Centro de las Americas is a cultural center focused on the promotion of awareness, appreciation, and acceptance of diversity through cultural activities and education. We approached them last year about doing a bilingual art program. We thought it would be beneficial to bring parents and their kids together in a bilingual setting, because often it's the first generation kids who come to America who learn to speak English fairly quickly thanks to ESL classes and school immersion, but the parents often don't speak English and they sometimes feel left out and culturally separated from their kids. This project was an opportunity for the kids to explain to their parents what was going on in Spanish and for the translation to go back in the other direction from the parents to the kids. The classes were held in the evenings, giving the most number of families the opportunity to participate. David Manzanares was the teaching artist. The Autism Family Network. We've had a wonderful project going with them for the last several years, expanding in that time from 1 to 3 projects. We do 2 art classes a month, one for young adults on the spectrum. You can see those youngsters sitting around the table in that lower picture. And we also do one for children. Additionally, we do music classes for children once a month, which has been greatly appreciated by families. I want to point out one photo here on the upper right because this is something especially meaningful to me. During the young adult art classes, we make a space in the back room for the moms to share stories, have some wine and cheese, and just have a break. A lot of them don't have time to themselves, and this is a rare opportunity for them to share stories, support each other, and that honestly has been one of the most unexpectedly rewarding parts of this project. So it's not just the young adults and kids, but it's their parents as well. Pathfinder is the name that LPS gives its school inside the Lancaster County Juvenile Detention Center. This is programming that we've done for more than a decade. Up until last year, it was just art, but we've added music, which has been very rewarding. You're looking at 2 pieces of art from one of these residencies, which we do twice a year, each for 6 weeks. Many art pieces have been created over the years, but I think these 2 are particularly powerful. The one on the left shows the way art allows the release of emotion and struggle that cannot be pulled out of someone any other way. You see the weight that they feel and the chains and the mental heft and stress that they're fighting through. Art allows people to, without a sense of judgment or vulnerability, just be honest about what they're feeling and processing those feelings. And then, of course, the broken heart sinking into the water on the right. Or is it floating to the top? Our visual art teacher at Pathfinder, Nancy Conradi, once told me of a girl who opened up about a sexual abuse memory in one of her art pieces, something that the school counselor had been unable to pull from her despite many months of talk therapy. It's immeasurably cathartic and therapeutic for the youngsters in the Juvenile Detention Center to create and process their stories through art and music. Each summer we have done a camp with Lincoln Literacy. Its genesis was 2 summers ago when we did a project with the many Ukrainian refugees that had come into Lincoln fleeing the war. The camp celebrated Ukrainian art and music. It was a great success, so much so that we did a repeat, except we expanded it to international arts and music. At last year's 5-day camp, the 40 adult and children participants discovered artistic cultures from each continent. You see here a Japanese drumming demonstration, and there is Daniel Martinez again doing South American music. I love the picture on the right. It's of a Ukrainian babushka who came and sat in the park while her granddaughter, who ended up sitting with her, was doing the arts activity that day. We also do projects in public spaces. At our first Friday open-air art markets, more than 20 local talented artists displayed their work, and visitors also enjoyed live music. And here we are outside Gateway Mall with our friends and partners from Urban Legends Art Studio, who provided a few teaching artists and supplies. People stopped by and had a great time. We did other public projects as well, by the way. For example, we had a children's art activity table at an outdoor music concert series that KZUM presented at Stransky Park. The LPS World Music Tour. This is something we've done with Daniel Martinez and his band Harana. The plan is to go to each and every LPS school over the next few years. We did 10 schools last year and 10 the year before that. Daniel spends 3 days workshopping with students and building instruments. He talks to them about the importance of music and culture and the bonds that we have in common, and how music can help us be proud of our cultures and our identities. And then it all ends with a full assembly for the entire school body. I believe this photo shows the assembly at Mickle Elementary. I'm not exactly sure. Anyhow, it was pajama day, that much I do remember. That's why everyone is looking so colorful. It was right before Christmas. I have a story worth telling from one of these concerts that I attended at Human Elementary. A para-educator came running to me in shock because a non-verbal 4th grader at the concert had turned to her after one of Daniel's songs and said, "That was good." He also spent much of the concert dancing, though he typically is retreated into his own world. It was really a breathtaking moment. Here's something we did recently for the first time. We teamed up with an organization called Beyond Prison. We had an art and music night at the Lancaster County Penitentiary for dads who are incarcerated and their kids for about an hour and a half. It was a rare opportunity for these dads and their kids to spend time together. You can see in these faces how meaningful this evening was. They're not pictured here, but there was a dad who saw his toddler son for only the 2nd time in his life at this event. One of our teaching artists was moved to tears as he worked with a father and his children, who were just so happy to be spending time in a happy and collaborative environment. Please remember that all these projects are original programming that Lincoln Arts Council has come up with, has funded, has organized, and has made happen. Without your support, many of them risk going away. Mega Portraits. This was a fun one-time project earlier this year. Artist Tom Myers does what he calls mega portraits, which are created when many people draw square mosaics and then they all come together to reveal a sort of crowdsourced piece of art. We had the idea to do this with LPS students. Again, this was an after-school program. We had over 900 students do squares, and then Tom put them back together, which took a lot of time and a lot of planning. There were 5 pieces in all: an elementary school student, a middle school student, a high school student, and then a portrait of a parent and a grandparent. You can see them all here, proudly on display after the project was completed. And there's Tom on the right at, I believe that was Color Elementary, working on individual squares with a small group of students. Brian Seck, who is now the Executive Director of Lincoln Literacy, began a project with e-commerce company Spreetail back in 2019 to deliver mattresses to families in need or transitioning out of homelessness. A few years later, Lincoln City Libraries donated books to these families as well, and this year we joined in to provide starter art kits to each family. Kathy Gomez from Gomez Art Supply was a wonderful partner, and here you see her loading up my car with me to get the art kits out to families in need. With Kathy and Brian's help, we donated over 100 art kits. Tom Myers painted an enormous mural in the hallway at Campbell Elementary. And what was great about this project is that it was the students themselves who came up with the content. Tom sat with them and asked them to recall and write down some memories of growing up with their families and friends. And Tom then drew many of those memories into the mural. Sitting under a tree, cooking dinner with grandma, all sorts of things. It's a spectacular mural. And what's quite amazing about it is that we had the word joy hidden in this mural, because in 2020, when this happened, it was Beethoven's 250th anniversary. That ode to joy was interrupted by COVID, but the plan was to do a whole big Beethoven celebration, including having the 4th graders write words to a school song set to the famous Ode to Joy tune. Some musicians from Lincoln Symphony Orchestra even came and did a Beethoven presentation and performance for the kids, teaching them about resiliency and overcoming struggles, as Beethoven obviously did. So the word joy is in 27 languages in this mural, 27 languages being all the languages spoken by children at Campbell Elementary who are from foreign countries. We think of Lincoln as a homogeneous community, but in fact it's very diverse, and it's wonderful to celebrate that diversity. All of these programs were conceived and organized directly by us as part of our upstArt Arts Access programming. We also awarded 10 $2,500 grants to outside organizations for their own arts projects. These awards were given primarily to non-arts social service organizations to incorporate the arts into their services, as well as to a few arts organizations to further their missions. Here are 3 of this year's awardees. On the left is Echo Collective, who used their grant money to offer 4 8-week art courses on quilting, bead weaving, and textile weaving to refugee and immigrant women. Through this programming, participating women spend time bonding with one another, building a sense of community, and creating. On the top right is a photo from the Lincoln Music Teachers Association, who offer low-cost and free music lessons. The third photo is of Black is Beautiful, Nebraska, hosting a Juneteenth art exhibit and celebration. Other winners included NeighborWorks, the Lincoln Community Playhouse, the Asian Community and Cultural Center, and the Well-Being Initiative. This is just some of the programming that we do at the Lincoln Arts Council, and more than anything, we want to continue doing it for as long as we can and reach as many people as we can. We think of it as our own Beethoven moment, as we call on the power of art to propel us forward with hope, heroism, and joy. Your help supporting us on that journey with a financial contribution means so much to us and all those who grow through the arts. The place to donate is artscene.org. That's ARTSCENE.org. Thank you so much.